Standing before the gathered representatives of every major power in the galaxy, the ambassador of Earth stoically stared at them, his face not betraying the slightest hint of emotion. The aliens sat nervously before him, some unable to meet his gaze for more than a few seconds while others glared with open hostility. Clearing his throat, the alien who sat at the center of the long table stood and said, "Greetings, Ambassador. We are honored to have you here with us on this momentous day when the Terran Empire joins our union of civilizations." Receiving no response from the man, the chairman of the union shifted uncomfortably under the human's gaze before holding up a document. "Now that we have finished negotiating the terms of the treaty, all that's left is for it to be ratified by each member of the union. It would be my honor to be the first to welcome your mighty empire on behalf of the Wrexham Dominion," he said, making his mark followed by the official sigil of the empire he represented. Passing the document down the table, the other ambassadors followed suit, some making brief, half-hearted remarks as they signed, while others simply begrudgingly scrawled their assent before shoving the document away in distaste. The document ended up in front of a reptilian alien who let out a snarl and threw it onto the floor. "How can we even think of allowing these barbarians to stand amongst us as equals?" "Peace, my friend," the chairman said placatingly. "We have already agreed." "You agreed," the reptilian alien snapped, casting an accusing gaze over the other diplomats. "But none of you suffered at the hands of these savages as we have. 24 nursery planets gone, reduced to ash and cinders, rendered uninhabitable by their war machines. You attacked Earth," the human ambassador replied simply. "A few 100,000 humans dead at most," the lizard man sneered. "You wiped out entire generations of my kind, entire broods culled before they even hatched. Never have such acts of barbarism been committed before you left that tiny rock you call home." He pointed a clawed finger at the ambassador. "You up-jumped apes commit atrocities and expect us to welcome you with open arms? Demand that we follow these rules of war that you are oh so proud of but cast off the moment they become inconvenient for you to follow. Under your own laws, you'd be considered war criminals for what you did." "You attacked Earth," the human ambassador repeated, his voice carrying a hard edge that silenced the irate alien. Stepping towards him in a slow and deliberate pace, the ambassador stood in front of him and stared into his reptilian eyes. "We have only been a spacefaring race for barely 3 centuries, our colonies extending only to a small corner of this galaxy. When we first met you, we extended a hand of peace, and you spat in our face. You attacked Earth." He leaned forward, pressing his knuckles against the table, forcing the alien to take a step back and stumble against his chair. "Before we encountered you, we were still divided, countries and companies warring over who got the rights to any and every exploitable planet. Then you attacked Earth. Suddenly, we had a common enemy, and all our tribalism became pointless. We no longer fought amongst ourselves, not when we had you to fight against." Bending down to pick up the treaty, the ambassador slammed it back down on the table, making all the delegates flinch and recoil. "Do you know why we have these rules of war? Our species is built on a history of bloodshed. Every single one of these rules is in place to stop us from repeating that history. We have committed genocide against our own kind, enslaved each other, warred with each other, slaughtered each other, tortured, maimed, and killed each other. We have these rules because, without them, we would have annihilated ourselves before we even left Earth. But these rules are there to protect us from ourselves. There were never any provisions about how we can act toward a hostile alien force that attacked our homeworld." His voice seethed with barely contained anger, making the lizardman's blood run cold. Standing up straight, he continued, "So now you have the entire, unified human race outraged at this unprovoked attack against our home, directing all their anger at your union of civilizations with absolutely no rules holding us back. Except for this." He pushed the treaty towards the trembling alien. "This treaty binds us all to the same restraints that we humans have self-imposed. So I suggest you sign the damn treaty, otherwise you'll find out just why we humans need so many rules." Unable to bear the heavy gaze, the lizard man turned away and meekly signed the document. "Good," the human ambassador said, taking the treaty and tucking it under his arm. "It seems like my business here has concluded. Good day to you, gentlemen." He promptly left the room. As soon as the door closed behind him, the remaining diplomats let out the breath they had all been holding in. "What a ghastly species," one commented. "We should never have agreed to let them join us. The combined might of our union would undoubtedly crush the Terran Empire." "Yes," the chairman agreed before continuing. "But at an unpalatable cost. They burned scores of planets in retribution for not even 1/10 of a million dead humans. Imagine what they would do if pushed into a corner. No, it is safer to bind these savages to us, try and civilize them if not outright tame them. They are rabid beasts," the lizard man spat. "There is no taming them. Mark my words, these humans will spread like a pestilence through the galaxy until they are too strong for us to put down. We should act now before they turn on us." Glaring angrily at the lizard man, the chairman said, "Then why did you sign the treaty if you are so against them joining us?" Giving him a sullen look, the lizard man said, "It'll take decades, if not centuries, to recover from the loss of our nursery planets. We are not in a position to fight against such a savage species. And neither are any of us," the chairman huffed. "Fighting with these humans will irrevocably weaken the Union. So I suggest you all get used to the Terran Empire. I doubt they shall be keeping to themselves." The tense silence that followed was palpable as the assembled representatives absorbed the gravity of the situation. The Union of Civilizations had never faced an adversary quite like the Terran Empire. Their history of internal strife, tempered by the harsh crucible of survival, had forged humanity into a formidable force. The chairman knew that underestimating them would be a fatal error. One of the other delegates, a being with translucent skin and luminous eyes, finally spoke up. "Perhaps there is a way to integrate them without compromising our values or our safety. We could establish a council specifically to oversee and mediate interactions with the Terran Empire, ensuring that they adhere to our principles while we learn more about their capabilities and culture." The chairman nodded thoughtfully. "A reasonable suggestion. A council dedicated to this purpose could help bridge the gap between our civilizations and potentially prevent any misunderstandings or conflicts from escalating." The lizard man grumbled but did not object further. His instincts told him that the humans were a threat, but the Union was not prepared for an all-out war with them. A council might be a temporary solution, but it was better than doing nothing. "Then it is decided," the chairman declared. "We will form a council of integration to oversee our relations with the Terran Empire. We must approach this situation with caution and wisdom, ensuring that we maintain the peace and stability of our Union." As the meeting adjourned, the delegates filed out of the room, each lost in their thoughts about the future. The chairman lingered for a moment, staring at the empty table where the treaty had been signed. He hoped that this decision would lead to a peaceful coexistence with the Terran Empire, but deep down, he knew that the path ahead would be fraught with challenges. Meanwhile, the human ambassador made his way back to his ship, the weight of the day's events heavy on his mind. He had asserted humanity's strength and resolve, but he also knew that this was only the beginning. The Union of Civilizations was vast and complex, and navigating its intricacies would require more than just brute force. As he boarded his ship, the ambassador was greeted by his aide, a young officer who had been monitoring the proceedings from a secure communication link. "How did it go, sir?" The ambassador handed over the treaty. "We're in. But it's clear they fear us. They don't understand us, and that makes them dangerous. We need to tread carefully." The aide nodded. "What's our next move?" "Prepare a detailed report for Earth. We need to ensure that our leaders understand the situation here. We've made a significant step today, but we must remain vigilant. The Union is powerful, and we are not yet fully integrated. We must continue to show strength, but also be open to diplomacy where it serves our interests." As the ship prepared for departure, the ambassador took one last look at the alien cityscape outside. The galaxy was vast and full of unknowns, but humanity had taken its first step into a larger world. Now, they had to prove that they belonged among the stars, not as conquerors, but as equals who could bring their unique strengths to the table. The journey ahead would be long and arduous, but the ambassador was confident that humanity was ready. They had faced countless challenges before, and they had always emerged stronger. This time would be no different. The union of civilizations had welcomed them, albeit reluctantly, and now it was up to humanity to show that they could be a force for stability and progress in the galaxy. As the ship lifted off, the ambassador felt a sense of determination settle over him. The future was uncertain, but one thing was clear: the Terran Empire would not be underestimated again. They had earned their place among the stars, and they would defend it with all the tenacity and ingenuity that defined the human spirit.